Cast aside your hollow slogans of corporate ethics and family culture. They are merely the rouge and powder used to mask the cold, skeletal face of survival. In this arena, kindness is not a virtue. It is the shovel used to dig the graves of the naive. Do you truly admire those failed startups simply because they were noble-hearted? I look upon them and see only unarmed prophets. History has proven time and again that all unarmed prophets are destroyed, for the nature of the multitude is changeful, and when they no longer believe, they must be forced to believe. A man who wishes to act entirely up to his professions of virtue soon meets with what destroys him among so much that is evil. The chasm between the bankrupt dreamer and the modern prince is not measured by the weight of their gold, but by the iron will to be ruthless when the state of the market demands it. To rule is to understand that the fox recognizes the snares and the lion overpowers the wolves. Those who play only the part of the lamb are destined for the slaughter.
Why do your compassionate CEOs so often find themselves presiding over the ruins of their own enterprises? It is because they are shackled by the compassion trap, a modern Achilles heel that paralyzes the hand when it must strike for the sake of the state, or in your case, the corporation. They lack the iron resolve to execute the necessary cuts when the winds of fortune turn hostile. Contrast this with the high Machiavellian, those who possess the strategic clarity to view the boardroom not as a family, but as a battlefield. Modern research confirms my ancient observations. Those with high Mach scores are the ones winning the race for resources and authority, for they are masters of regulating their own emotions while precisely reading the vulnerabilities of their rivals. They do not practice cruelty for its own sake, for that would be folly. Instead, they are foxes who sense the snares of office politics and lions who terrify the wolves that would dare challenge their reign. To these modern princes, kindness is never a principle, it is merely a diplomatic tool of the fox, used to mask an objective until the moment of execution. When a rival falters, the wise leader does not offer a hand of mercy. They initiate a fire sale acquisition, absorbing the competitor's strength at a pittance, just as a prince seizes a rebellious province to consolidate his borders. You must understand that in the pursuit of the great objective, one must know how to be the beast and the man in equal measure, for to rely on the law alone is often insufficient for survival.
What is it that you truly crave in the quiet hours of the night? Is it a hollow plaque naming you a compassionate leader? Or is it the absolute submission of your peers and the possession of a vast, unassailable fortune? A modern prince understands that the fleeting affection of employees is a house built upon sand. It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. For love is held by a chain of obligation, which, men being selfish, is broken whenever it serves their purpose. But fear is maintained by a dread of punishment, which never fails. When you command through fear, you possess the only true lever of control over the changeable nature of men. Look upon the great corporate empires that endure. They are forged in the fires of discipline and the cold steel of deterrence, not in the syrupy, meaningless rituals of team building. The world of high-stakes commerce is not a playground for the well-meaning. It is a court where high Machiavellians find it easier to obtain leadership positions and command superior wealth precisely because they prioritize the objective over the individual. You must decide if you wish to stand upon the summit, where your word is the final decree and your vision shapes the market, or if you prefer to be discarded by those who possess the intellectual ruthlessness you lack. To be the modern prince is to accept the isolation of the heights, recognizing that the only reliable security is that which depends upon your own virtue and your own arms. Will you sign the order that saves the empire, even if it draws blood? Or will you allow your legacy to be dismantled by the wolves you were too kind to terrify?
Cease your consumption of the hollow scriptures of servant leadership and empathetic management. These are the fairy tales told to the lambs to keep them docile for the harvest. You must act now as a seasoned prince of the market. Your first command is the pacification of your own house. Identify those within your ranks whose loyalty is fragmented or whose ambition competes with the state, and remove them with absolute finality. Do not strike twice. Follow the example of Caesar Borgia, who, to stabilize the Romagna, used a cruel instrument to do his labor and then discarded that instrument in a single public stroke to satisfy and dismay the populace. Do not distribute favors in a daily drizzle, for men will grow accustomed and eventually ungrateful. Instead, let your punishments be delivered in one sudden, overwhelming thunderclap, so that the sting is felt, but the opportunity for revenge is extinguished. Conversely, let your benefits be granted slowly, piece by piece, so that the sweetness of your favor lingers longer in the mouths of those who serve you. You must accept that the nature of the people is variable, and whilst it is easy to persuade them, it is difficult to fix them in that persuasion, and thus it is necessary to take such measures that, when they believe no longer, it may be possible to make them believe by force. In the final reckoning, do not ask if your maneuvers were moral in the eyes of the common man. Ask only if they were effective. The world is a theater of results, and the multitude is always taken by the appearance of success and the outcome of the enterprise. If you win, your means will always be judged honorable and praised by everyone, for in the world there is only the vulgar, and the few find a place only when the many have no ground to rest on. Will you choose to be a forgotten victim of history's caprice, or will you write the next chapter of your empire with the cold, sharp blade of strategic reason?